sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. Been a crazy, crazy day. MLB trade deadline. Julian Edlow on this morning. Phones ringing off the hook. Apologies. Wanted to get this going at 6. That was my fault here at 6:15. Shout out to Anthony Pepe, Food Trucks Festivals of America. I got your gear on today. Can't thank you enough for last week. Hoping to do a lot more, and especially with Massachusetts now legal. See how long it takes. I said January 1st, 2023. Julian seems to think somewhere in between, maybe the end of October, November 1st. So we'll see what happens. A lot to talk about, but we got a full board here currently in the bottom of the 5th. Padres and Colorado tied 3-3. Feltner versus Darvish. A lot of moves going on, and I missed the last 15 minutes. So I'm kind of curious, and hopefully Scott can fill me in. If the Sox didn't trade JD Martinez, they didn't trade Eovaldi either. I knew they wanted Hosmer last year. And when they didn't get Rizzo, I thought it was a given, and they waited now, and Padres picking up most of the money. So now all of a sudden, the Sox feel that they're 3.5 back or whatever it is, and they're in and alive. But thanks to all our followers. Billy, I hope you're watching now. We were a little late, so Billy, I missed Billy's call, and I just got his text, and he couldn't find us, but we're up and running. So let's bring him in from the Palm Tree State himself, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty!
Jeff, it's a big day today. So, a couple things. Boston, no JD Martinez trade, no Eovaldi trade, Bogart's still there, all that stuff. But I can tell you the Hosmer thing is not about the Red Sox trying to do anything more than say, hey, you're giving him to us, so we'll take him. I don't know what we're going to do with him, but we're going to take him because he's not a long-term addition there. They got the kid Casillas or whatever his name is in the minors. He's their first baseman. So what's going to end up happening is, Hosmer played the outfield. I don't think they're going to put him in the outfield, but I'm going to guess that he's a short-time guy and he's not going to be there long.
Well, he's the way I understand it, 3 for 39 left. It's short money, but he can opt out at the end of the season. The same thing Rizzo did, and Rizzo got 32 for 2. He got 16. So I don't know if he thinks he can go out into the market and beat 13 per, which is not a lot of money in today's game, or take the guaranteed money like a JD that kept opting back in, like a Chris Sale, yada, yada, yada. Sox dead last in the MLB at first base, production, field, and you name it. That's where we are. He's a big help. He's not the Hosmer from the Royals, but he is better right-handed than Bobby Dahlbeck. And I know we're on this youth movement and stuff. So typical Sox, basically just, we had that run, Scotty, where we were either in first and last. Now we're stuck in stupid. And listen, I'm not forgetting about last year's miracle run. I'm appreciative of that. But, Bloom is just looking, no one from the management team was in Houston. None. They were all back home working together. And here's Christian Vasquez hitting BP and then getting swarmed and saying, hey, by the way, how do you feel that you need to go into the other dugout now? You've been traded to the Astros. And listen, I'm not calling Vasquez Carlton Fisk or Jason Varitek, okay? But the damn guy came, he played, he gave it his all, he wore his heart on his sleeve. Great guy in the dugout. And that's not the way you treat someone like that.
Well, Red Sox players that are loved and cherished by the city are those kind of guys, right? I mean, they're the hard-nosed, I love to play baseball kind of guys that go out there and they might not be the most talented guys every day, but at the same time, there ain't nobody gives more effort than a lot of those guys do. So it's hard to see some of those guys move, and especially the way they move them today, where I saw I saw a picture of Michael Fulmer walking from the Detroit dugout to the Minnesota dugout today. So stuff like that happens. It is what it is. It's Major League Baseball. I liked Derek Jeter's phrase, which was loyalty can be a one-way street, and if it is, that's stupid. Meaning that it's stupid on the player's part because a player has to understand that they're in it for themselves too. But if you give too much to an organization, the organization just sees you as an asset for positive returns or negative returns. And if you get to a point where that return isn't worth the investment anymore, the loyalty's gone. So that was the comment, what it was made for. And I think about that a lot in these kind of situations. I think about it in football too, but football is different because, football, they're not guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, I go way, 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 way back. Dwight Evans, who I've had the internet sucks today, guys. Apologies. It is hot and humid, and we're going in and out, so I'm going to make this short. But he had 19 years in with the Red Sox, Scotty, and he just wanted his 20th year because his daughter was going away to school, and the Red Sox traded him to the Tigers. So it's crazy out there. The one question I'm going to ask you, which makes zero sense to me, zero. What in holy hell do the Dodgers want in Joey Gallo?
Nothing. He's just a guy that can come off the bench and win a game for you if you have to have that. He's still young enough that the truth of the matter is you fix him a little bit, but I don't know that they're that kind of team, right? Meaning that Bellinger's been going through this problem for a long time now, and they really haven't fixed him. So he was an MVP. So now he's not an MVP. And then now they're bringing in another guy that's just almost like him, except he strikes out even more, makes less contact and less home runs. But he's just younger. He's still a great defender. He can still do a lot of things. But if you're counting on him to be the Joey Gallo that hits, 45 or 50 home runs or whatever, 30, he's just not that guy anymore. The pitchers have his book, and they're throwing to those right spots, and he just can't hit them.
So I was on the phone for the last 15 minutes. No late moves or
no, yeah, there's some. Merrifield's traded. Merrifield is now a Blue Jay.
Okay.
Rafael Iglesias is now traded. And he went over to I can't remember. I have to look. He was a deadline move, and he went. Where's my Twitter? He I got it on something else. Anyway, he went to somebody, and then I think they went to he went to the Braves. That's who he went to. He went to the Braves, which makes their bullpen even that much better. So there was some interesting things that didn't happen. I don't know if you want to talk about that or if you want to go through the board real. I don't know what you want to do, and because it's 6:30. I don't know if you want to do that and hit plays, and then because I got a lot to say about some of this stuff, and I'm super excited about what one team did, and I'm just lackadaisical about some of the other stuff.
All right, and just so I can get this out, guys, not this past weekend, the weekend before, we had one of those epic weekends, 5-1 on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday we hit the 3-team parlay 3 times plus 24 unit. Since then I am as cold as ice. It looks like Braille, Chinese, Slovakian, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what we do. Okay. First five minus the hook, team totals. It doesn't matter if we do full game minus 1.5. We can't get the walk-offs like the Twins last night. We get the bleeders to right field. The Guardians up 4-1, win 6-5 in 10. The Rangers yesterday couldn't hit Watkins. I don't know which Watkins that was. That's not the Watkins that I know. But the Orioles box to wire on that one. Just cold as ice. And I been here 7.5 years, guys. My face ain't going anywhere. ECSI is not going anywhere. So I'm glad me and Scott are here today. Anyone, of course, with the Padres first five gets there on the money line as they are up 4-3, top of the sixth. Board is yours, Scott. Take it away, because I'll be interested to see how you break this board down.
Well, I'm going to continue to say this that the numbers are going to be bigger, and they're going to get bigger and bigger now because you got more and more separation between the better teams and the smaller teams. And DeGrom is on the road today, and he's minus 340. So you don't see that. I mean, that's just that, but that's the way it is. It's just the way it is. So anyway. First game on the board was Cincinnati, Miami. That game's going off in like 10 minutes. So the return on investment equation comes out to when the line opened last night, it was minus 125, which then I thought Miami had a small edge to be looking at. So I tried to look into that. But now the line's 140. So they're betting up on Miami. So the edge is gone. I think the number's right. So in other words, my number was minus 134. The number's 140. So I don't see an edge in terms of that. Now, what's interesting here is that Garrett, he's really good. Ashcraft is spotty at best. So 57 is the game score for Garrett over his last 7 starts. That means he's almost like an ace pitcher. He's been really good. His xFIP number 311, his Sierra number 297, ERA minus is a 77. Those are all great numbers. His strikeouts are 9.9 per 9 innings. So he's limiting guys that getting on base. He's making it difficult for them to hit him. His batting average against is 171. His whip number is 0.80. Plus, he's left-handed. So he's been really you remember Rogers from last year. This is what Rogers did. Rogers was really good last year. He's not good at all this year. So this kid Garrett's been really, really good. And I agree with the public or whoever's betting this number up to 140, whether they're sharps or whoever they are, it doesn't matter. The line moved, but you've got you're at a point now where you're taking the worst number. But I will tell you, the Reds traded some of their hitters today, so Drury's not in there, and Drury's been really good for the Reds. Matter of fact, he's hit over 20 home runs. So he's not there anymore. As a matter of fact, he went to the Padres, believe it or not. Padres just loaded up, brother. Anyway, so I got a lot to say about that. But I would tell you that the Marlins are the right side, even though the Marlins can't hit. And they're going to face Ashcraft, whose game score over the last 7 is a 40.9. He's off game score 42. But this is these two teams, these two pitchers just faced each other, and you know how that goes. And they both weren't that great. One was a 47, one was a 46, so below average. But I'm going to expect Garrett to bounce back. I'm going to say Ashcraft probably not so much. And I think that the Miami's the right side here. But I didn't wager it just because I think there's no value in the number. The DeGrom and Washington game, I'm just going to skip it, man, just because this is minus 340. This is DeGrom. To be honest, I don't know what DeGrom's going to look like. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that goes out and throws 100 miles an hour, or if he throws 95, or if he throws 92. Of course, I said that about Verlander at the beginning of the season, and now we know what Verlander's like. So the point being is that he's also going to face a kid in Abbott who is he's just a kid. So this is just a spot start for him. And now you don't have Soto and you don't have Bell in that lineup. So I'm not sure what kind of lineup they're going to put out there tonight. But this is Mets, and it's lined Mets, minus 340 on the road is okay. What are you going to do with that? I don't think you do anything with it. I think you skip it and go on the next game. Seattle and New York. Now, I think there's a little value here to be on the Seattle side tonight. We're looking at Gilbert against Taillon. Taillon, even though he's pitched better in his last couple starts, still for his last 7 starts is a game score 43. So that's not very good. His xFIP numbers are 3.96, almost 4. So he's about average. ERA minus is 130. So he's 30% worse there than an average pitcher. Now, when you look at Gilbert, it's 3.54, 3.8, and 85. So he's better. And he's at both of them about 8 strikeouts, both of them about 2 walks. So about the same kind of pitcher. The difference is where Gilbert's getting his outs on the ground, Taillon's getting his outs in the air. And Taillon can get hit pretty hard, pretty quick. It's not a good thing when you are, in my numbers here, red in fly ball percentage and red in hard hit percentage. That's not very good because that means that you can have damage against you. Gilbert is green on fly ball percentage and he's average on hard hit percentage. So he's not been getting soft outs, but he's not been getting hard outs either. And he's got some good strikeouts. What I liked about him was his batting average against is 254. His BABIP number is 306. So that's a 50-point variance. That means he's being unlucky with balls being hit in play, not at fielders. So I kind of like the idea that that's going to reverse on him at some point in time. And I think Seattle's in a spot tonight where Gilbert's probably the right side. Plus, you look at Taillon off of a game score 71 the last time out. And the last time he had a good game, he threw a 37. So I'm expecting Seattle to beat Taillon tonight. Now, I didn't bet it because I think the number is pretty close. My number was Yankees minus 141, and I think the number is 159 or 160, 155, something like that. So I didn't see that much value because when you start to break it down, that's just plus 145 or something. And I just thought, okay, well, you can take a flyer on it, but I'm looking for a 5% return on investment edge. And this is going to be a little right around that 4.5 number. So I did find a couple of other ones to go. Did you have a question?
No, I thought looking at the board, that was one of the games that looked like, to me, that was a Seattle number. It overnight was 160, still 160 at Jazz. It got bumped up to 170 at South Point, but on the Vegas Strip, Westgate down to 158, Circa down to 159. It smells to me. I think it is a good spot for Gilbert, who's hasn't got me many wins of late, but could definitely use one in our future at Westgate. But I think that is correct, and that is the number.
Well, the Yankees don't have Gallo tonight, so they might not. They you might have to downgrade them because of that. So this game I am on though. This is going to be one of those things that I talked about in our Discord. This is Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. This is Burns against Wilson. Now the number is really high on the money line, so I'm not on the money line. That's too high of a number, but I am on the run line, and I'm paying minus 160 on the money line. And I know that's a big number, but at the same time that those are big numbers, that's what you got to play if you're going to win at this time of year. And you got to change your gears, right? So when you're at this point in the season, you got to understand where the value truly is. And we all look at, okay, well, it's minus 150. I'm not going to play above minus 150. Well, we do that at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, if you're not going to play minus 150 or better, you're not going to win because you're going to be playing all the teams that aren't any good, and you're going to ask them to do things they don't normally do. So this is a game where Burns is playing against Pittsburgh. He's started against them 6 times. He's 5-1 against them. He's got a 2.63 earned run average against them. They are right now one of the better hitting teams in all of baseball. And I always say this, the only time you bet on I got to pull them up here. The only time that you want to bet on the Brewers is when their offense is hitting, because when they're not hitting, they don't score. So over the last 7 days, they are the number 2 offense in all of baseball. Number 2. They're 18.9 offensive WAR, just behind the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are just crushing everybody. So, and they're even ahead of the Mets, who have been beating everybody. They're ahead of Toronto. They're ahead of New York. So that's when you want to bet on Milwaukee. And you never, ever, 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 ever want to bet on the number 30 team out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball on offense. And guess where Pittsburgh is? They're number 30 in all of baseball. And it's a huge gap that they're number 30. They're minus 16.6 offensive WAR in 7 days, and that's just awful. So I like the idea that there's a huge offensive edge for Milwaukee. You got a stud on the mound with Burns. I mean, Burns, his game score for the season's a 63. Over his last 7 starts is a 67. His last 5 starts against Pittsburgh is a 64. He's just consistent. He's got a 12.79 strikeout percentage and a 12.79 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's got a walks of 2.13, a batting average against a 193. I don't see any way they're going to his career was 2.63 against Pittsburgh. He's given up only one time more than 1 run against Pittsburgh. Let me pull it up. He gave up he gave up only 1 time more than 2 runs against Pittsburgh. And when he gave up those runs, he only gave up 3 in terms of earned runs. He gave up 4, but one of them wasn't earned. So, and he still won that game. So when you start to think about what Burns does to the Pirates, I think that you've got a big edge on offense. You've got it's not even close on offense. You got a big edge on the mound because now we haven't even talked about Wilson. Wilson's game score in his last 7 is a 50, but his game score for the season's a 36. He's faced this team, and his game score against this team in 5 starts is a 43. So he's not been real good. He doesn't strike guys out. 4.31 is his strikeout percentage. So that means that balls are going to be put in play by Milwaukee, not by Pittsburgh. So I like the idea you're going to get guys on base. I like the idea that you got a better offense. I love the pitching matchup for Milwaukee. And then when you really wrap it up, and I get it, Hader's not there anymore, but when you go look at the bullpen and you start to see, well, where's Milwaukee's bullpen? Milwaukee's bullpen right now is number 5 in all of baseball. So for the last 14 days. So that means the guys they have been doing a really good job, and they brought in a whole bunch more help. Now they're not going to be there tonight, but they brought in a lot more guys to make up for the Hader decision. So that's one of my plays today is Milwaukee minus 1.5 on the run line. And I think you'll be happy there. The Arizona Cleveland game. Go ahead.
I think Devin Williams going to be the closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be the closer. And then they got all kinds of guys now that they're bringing in from everywhere to set him up. And I think I think the best way to describe what they did was they guaranteed themselves not to be World Series contenders because they don't have the back end that can do that anymore. But they did lengthen the time that they can contend to be the National League Central champ, because they got rid of that money that they can't afford to pay anyway. And now they got a lot of guys that can do the roles and do well.
Well, I'll just say this. They were trying to move Hader at the start of the year. There's something wrong there. And I know he shows flashes of greatness when he's on. He's unhittable. I get that part. But I think Milwaukee was just trying to get in front of this. And I think they have a stud they were talking about Devin Williams. I mean, his K rate is 15.9. They're basically saying, hey, you can close. Don't worry about it. It's your job now. And they got what they could. They got a good, they got some arm. They got some bodies back for Hader. And I think they were just getting in front of this. That's all.
Yeah. So the money line at minus 260, my number is closer to a little bit over 300. So there's, in my opinion, there's a lot of value here on the Milwaukee side tonight. Now, in terms of the next game, which is these are 7:10 starts. This is Arizona Cleveland. It's a great pitching matchup between Gallen and McKenzie. I think the number is pretty much right on. My number was Cleveland minus 134. I think this morning or last night it was 135, and now it's like 130 or something. So I there's not been much movement here. Cleveland is a team that I think is very disappointing at the trade deadline. But we can get into that in a little while. And in terms of the matchup, there's almost like the same picture just out there in terms of statistics. Gallon over the last 7 starts, 55. McKenzie, 56.9. Over the last 3 starts, both of them, 68. Gallon's off of 60, McKenzie's off of 55. So there's no real, decided saying, hey, one pitcher is going to do well, one's not. They're it is what it is. XFIP 3.54 for Gallon, 3.55 for McKenzie. So these guys are like mirror images of each other right now. When you consider the fact that Gallon went through that little lull there where he wasn't pitching well, but now he's pitching good again. So I don't really see a decided edge here. And the other problem, let me pull it back up here. The other issue with these guys is that when you start to think about what they're doing on offense, Cleveland is 8th and Arizona is 12th. So there's not really any separation. So I don't see the number being more accurate. I think the pitchers are probably about where they're basically the same pitcher. And then the offense, Cleveland's been a little bit better, but it's not a dominant edge. So I'm going nowhere with that game. Toronto and Tampa Bay is an interesting game. I'm going to tell you, I think Toronto wins this game, but I'm not going to bet the number. I think the number is probably right in a sense that when I looked at my number's Toronto minus 128. I think the number right now is Toronto minus like 130, something like that. So I don't see any value there. I think it's like a trade even. If you look at 1% value of somewhere, I don't want to bet it. But the reason I like it is because Gausman's off a game score 34. He hasn't been the same pitcher that he was in San Francisco, but his season numbers are 55, which means he's above average. He's pretty good. But his last 7's been a 47, so that's not very good. Rasmussen's been a lot better as of late. His last 7 starts, his game score 52. Now he's off of 48, which means that he's just a little under average there. But when you talk about Gausman, it's a 2.48 xFIP and a 2.75 SIERA, which are great numbers. He just hasn't been doing well. But his ERA minus throws a big wrinkle in there. So that's why I like to look at 3 of them. It's a 126, which means it's 26% worse than average, even though his xFIP and SIERA numbers say he should be doing a lot better. So that meant for me to go out and look at where the problem is, and it's his batting average against. The guys are hitting him. His batting average against over the last month, 351. So I thought, man, that must mean he got really racked up one game, and maybe they left him out there and just hung him out to dry. Well, it's not really true. He didn't really have that issue, and he's not super good against Tampa Bay. He's pitched against them twice. Game score 44 and a game score 65, so an average is 55. Rasmussen's pitched twice against Toronto. Game score 49 and a 63, so same kind of story. But the difference is Toronto's hitting and Tampa Bay can't score nowhere. So if I'm going to match this up, I like Toronto, but I don't want to pay to find out if they make the number. I think the number is legitimate that you could buy into it at minus 130. That's not a terrible number, but I think the number's right. So handicapping wise, I can't find the edge there. And I think there's that brings up a good point where when you handicap a game, that's different than betting the game. You need to bet the numbers and get good numbers. And when you're handicapping the game, it needs to make sense to why you want to bet those numbers. So in this case, that's what I'm saying is I think Toronto's the right side. I don't think that you're getting the greatest of numbers, if that makes sense. So the next game is Philadelphia and Atlanta. This is Nelson against Strider. Now Nelson's an opener. He pitches regularly for Philadelphia. But he's only going to go 2 innings max. He's not pitched ever more than 2 innings. He's only started one time, and it was a game score 44 in that 2 innings that he pitched. So that's not very good. You start at 50 when you start at a game score, and then every inning you're supposed to go up. It's not very good if you go down. And he only pitched 2 innings, so that's not good. So he is a strikeout guy. I mean, he's a big strikeout guy. But he's only going to throw 2 innings. So Strider, on the other hand, he's a big strikeout guy. 13.84 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.45 xFIP, 2.41 Sierra, 65 ERA minus. He's just awesome. I don't think that I would put him in the same neighborhood as Burns and all those guys. But he's a game score 58 for the season. That's near ace-like. He said when he's not on, he gets hammered. When he's on, he's really good. So that's why his number's up there. And I would say he's probably going to beat the Phillies tonight. But that's a big number that you got to pay. You're paying minus 235. And my number is minus 201. So I'm saying there's a little value there on the Phillies. But I'm not going to go doing that either, because that's not, in my opinion, that's not their smartest way to move. Manning and Archer, this is one where I didn't get involved. Now, I've said this over and over and over. Say it again. Matt Manning is a good pitcher for Detroit. He's one of the young kids that they got, but he's been hurt. He started the season, then he got hurt. Now he's coming back. So what are you supposed to do? Bet against him. So are you really going to go out and pay minus 172 on Archer? I'm not going to do that. No way I'm going to do that. And when I looked at the number, my number was minus 171. I saw the number last night at 195. I think the number now is like 170, 172. So it's about even where it should be. But I don't like the matchup here. And Archer, when he was with the Rays, he had trouble with Detroit. He's never pitched really good against Detroit. His game score for his last 5 against them is a 56, but that's because he's only got 1 in his last 5 years or last 3 years, and I don't look back past that. But I know that he's had all kinds of trouble against Detroit prior to that. So I'm leaving that one alone. I thought the number was too big. Chicago, St. Louis. This is a weird matchup. Wainwright is one of those guys I like to bet on, but I don't like to bet on him after he just had a great game. And he just pitched well. He got a game score 76. And he also has trouble in his division. So he doesn't do good against the Cubs. And he's got a game score 53 this season against the Cubs. He's got an ex-WOBA, which is what's anticipated versus the lineup of the hitters that they have, of over 400. And that's terrible, because you want that to be about a 320. So I'm looking for this game to possibly be one of those kind where there's some scoring and some offense. And I didn't play the over in this game, but if I'm going to look that way, I would go that way. 4.65, 4.40 Sierra xFIP numbers. And if you remember, we're just talking about 3s and 2s for all these other guys. But Thompson, 4.65, 4.40, and Wainwright, 4.09, 4.25, leads for me to believe that they're going to get hit a little. And both pitchers are off of good starts the last time out. Game score for the season for Thompson, 49. For his last 7, though, it's a 57. So he's been good. But I think St. Louis finds a way. I think there's a lot of offense here. And I just think that, when you look at walks, Thompson's 3.43 in walks. Wainwright doesn't strike out enough guys. So there's going to be guys put on base. It's going to be balls in play. So I think you might want to look at a total on that side. And then the next game, this is Baltimore and Texas. Baltimore stole my thunder last night for tonight. They won last night. I liked them today, but I don't like them at all anymore. And that's because they got rid of their closer today. He's gone. So he got traded, Lopez. And I just think that this is going to be a team. And I saw the lineup card. I don't hardly recognize most of the guys that are going to play tonight. And they're going to play Texas. Now, it don't matter. Texas has Howard on the mound, and Howard xFIP number 5.33, Sierra 5.37, highest on the board. He's got a very low strikeout rate, 5.32, a high walk rate, 3.80, a high fly ball rate, 42.2. I mean, anything you want to look at, he's just not very good. So Baltimore is the right side. The question is are they the right, they got the right guys to pull it off? And I don't have to bet it, so I'm not gonna. I thought there was some value there, but now with the line, with the players in the lineup there, I'm just going to keep it off and not go there. Boston and Houston. My number was Houston minus 229. I think the number now is down to 190, 195 or something like that. You got Javier and Crawford. Now, I think Crawford is a good first five kind of guy. And after that, you gotta pull the plug because you're calling on the bullpen for Boston. And if you're gonna bet it, I wouldn't be betting on the Astros because you're not getting enough value there. And to be honest, Javier had that game where he threw, I think it was did he throw the no hitter or did he throw like a one hitter or two hitter or something? It's like against the Yankees, right? It was some crazy thing. Like against the Yankees, they like threw a no hitter or a 3-hit shutout or something. I don't remember. Anyway, since that game, he's not been that good. Now he's been probably better than average, but he's not been like lights out crazy. His last 3 starts, game score 46. That's not very good. His xFIP number 4.17. His ERA minus 152. That's not very good. But I don't like to back Boston with the bullpen that they have, knowing that this may come down to a bullpen game. I think Crawford's going to keep him in the first half of this game. So looking at it from that perspective, I guess I would have a pretty good lean that you could take Boston on the first 5. I don't know what the plus side of that is, but plus the half a run on the first 5, and see where you come out on the end. Because Crawford, he's got a 3.89 xFIP, 3.98 SIERA, a 78 ERA minus, a 1.19 walk rate. So he's not putting guys on base. And I like the idea that his whip rate's 0.93. That's really good. And when you look at it from the other side, Javier is a 1.4. So he's putting guys on base, 1.5 guys per inning.
You can get the Red Sox right now plus a half run, plus 105.
I think that's the way to go in that spot. Of course, I didn't bet that. That's a good lean, though. I got one more bet that I did make, but it's the last game on the board. So, second to last game on the board. I didn't do the Colorado-San Diego second game. So Keller and Giolito. The White Sox are another team trade deadline I was disappointed in, but Giolito's off a game score 38. That means I like him to pitch well tonight, but I don't like the number. I got Giolito in the White Sox minus 143, and I know the number's 165-ish or something, so I don't see value in that number. If the number comes down, then I think you're starting to build into some of that, but then you get to about even, and that's about the best you're going to get. But he's off a game score 43. Now, I will say this, he hasn't pitched really well against the Royals. His game score against the Royals over the last 5 has been a 48, so that's not very good. And Keller's been really good against the White Sox. Now, Keller's a game score 50 on the season and a 54 for those last 7. But his xFIP number 4.52, 4.80 SIERA, 120 on the ERA minus, so he's 20% worse than an average pitcher, and his strikeout rate's only 6.75. So that means balls are going to be put in play, but he's a big ground ball guy. So where you got to kind of balance some of that is his fly ball rate's only 26%, and his soft contact rate's 14. So that's really good. So that means he's getting a lot of soft contact, a lot of easy ground ball outs. And that's where the strikeouts get counterbalanced by the type of pitcher he is. And if the White Sox don't adjust to that, which they obviously haven't in the past, but I do like Giolito. I think he's the right side. I just don't like the number. The next game is Irvin and Syndergaard. This game is the weirdest game on the board, in my opinion. I have Syndergaard minus 119. Last night it was like 130. Now it's 120. Which is right where it's supposed to be, or at least where I think it's supposed to be. So I don't see value here. Syndergaard's changing again. At the beginning of the season, coming through all through other arm problems, he was, a big Mets pitcher, Thor and all that stuff, striking out 100 people and throwing millions of miles an hour. And then he quit striking guys out. Well, now he's back to 10.43 strikeouts per 9 innings again. So he's striking guys out. but he's still not doing well. It's 4.56 xFIP number, for example. And he's got a 94 ERA minus, which is average. He's facing Irvin, who's a 49 on ERA minus, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball nobody talks about. His game score for the season's a 56. For the last 7's a 61. He's been one of the best pitchers that Oakland even has. He's not very good against the Angels, though. His game score versus the opponents a 52 versus them this year was a 44. He doesn't do well. Syndergaard hasn't pitched against Oakland. Oakland is the number 6 offense in baseball right now.
Did you see Suarez was moved in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just think that we're in a spot here where I just leave it alone. If you're not going to back Oakland, then don't back anybody in this game. Marsh got traded today too by the Angels too. And then the last game I am on, this is the Dodgers in San Francisco. This is Anderson and Wood. Anderson has been just lights out. His last 7's a 59. For the season, he's a 59. He's been great. Now Woods pitched better in the last 7. Well, I shouldn't say pitched better. His xFIP number, his Sierra number is better for San Francisco. 3.92, 2.97, 3.84, 3.97 for Anderson. But what I like here is the idea that Wood has pitched against the Dodgers several times. His game score in that time is a 45. He's not very good. He's got a xWOBA of 360. And the Dodgers are the number 2 offense going right now. They have won. The Dodgers are 22-12 against left-handed pitching, 22-12, and they're 7-3 against the Giants this season. And the Giants just sold off a little bit. So, Ruff's not there. He's gone. So I think that you're going to find, or at least in my mind, you're going to find, I think the Dodgers are the right side here. I think the Dodgers are going to go where they're supposed to. My number on this game was the Dodgers minus around 200. This game is at Dodgers, and they opened last night at minus 140. I see it down to 136. I'm like, there's all kinds of value on the Dodgers. If I'm concerned, give me the Dodgers and the minus the 136. So those are my 2 plays, basically. Dodgers minus 136, Milwaukee run line minus 1.5, minus 160.
Yeah, again, tough board. Bottom of the 7th now, Padres 7-5. Colorado gets a 2 spot there, and Cincinnati crossed 2 in the first. Ashcraft versus Garrett. Bottom of the 1st, Reds 2-0. Again, for myself, I'm gonna wrap up the show soon, and then we're gonna I'm gonna take one final look. I have combed the market. I have looked at every team total, first 5s, and again, there's just not a lot out there that my eyes see. I thought you were spot on about Seattle. That looks like a smelly line to me, and the Yankees. But again, the Yankees, what do? They just keep winning. I had seen from our friend SoCal DGen that the home team was 9-0 last night, going into the Dodgers and the Giants, and then the Dodgers win there. So that is now gone. Money trickling in on San Fran, but as you said, Anderson has been lights out there. Your eyes on the Cubs St. Louis over. It wasn't overnight over. It was 8 over minus 14 cents. Now 8.5 over 15. Can the Cubs get to 4? Is this a 5-4, 6-4 game there? Some big numbers that are obviously out of play as well. Tough board. I got to be 100% honest. And again, we've had a rough last 8 days here at ECSI after the booming weekend that we did have. So we're going to tread lightly. Before we wrap it up, I know I usually say closing thoughts here, but I'm going to give you the stage, and so you can go over some moves and stuff that you thought teams improved, didn't improve. Obviously, I put out there to a few of my colleagues, you now have a Tatis, Soto, Machado, 1, 2, 3. The Dodgers have Betts, Turner, Freeman. Which top 3 would you like going into the playoffs?
Well, let's do it this way. It's better than that for the Padres. It's better than just those 3 guys. So their projected lineup would, and I don't know where Tatis would fit into that. I don't know who the leadoff hitter is, but right now Right now the lineup looks like this. They got Profar leading off, Machado bat second, Soto bat third. They got Josh Bell bat fourth, Brandon Drury, and then Cronin, Ruth, Kim, Nola, and Grisham, right? Those kind of the bottom feeders. And then you put Tatis in there. And then so you can have Machado, Soto, Tatis, and Bell and Drury. And you gotta count Drury. He's got 25 home runs. I mean, you got to count the guy. I mean, you can't discount the guy. So I like that lineup. And then when you think about the where and then you got Josh Hader at the end. So would you rather have Josh Hader come in, or would you rather have what's the guy's name out there that has struggles with the Dodgers all the time every time he comes out there? Yeah, Kimbrel. Would you rather have that? Now, I will say, and I will also tell you, you got Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, Minaya, and Clevenger. They're not the greatest pitching staff I ever saw, but they're great starters comparative to some of these teams. And to a certain degree, because Buehler's not there, the matchups move forward for the Dodgers because Buehler's their number one guy. So now they got to move forward and have guys be the number one guy. The Padres don't have that problem. So their number one guy's the number one guy, been the number one guy all season. He's used to being the number one guy. So now what, you're going to have Kershaw be the number one guy and match up to the Padres guys? I don't know if that's going to work. How about Urias? Is he going to be the number one guy? You can't make Gonsolin the number one guy. So who's the number one guy? So I sit here and think, okay, well, Anderson, without Anderson and Gonsolin this season, the Dodgers would really be, I don't want to call them an also-ran because that's not the truth, but they would be a team that would be out there really, really trying to get pitching. And they just traded pitching. Remember Mitch White? He's not there no more. He got traded. So he's the guy that they kept throwing out there and starting and stuff. So I like what the Padres did because they're not going to catch the Dodgers. They're too far behind. But they are an instant World Series caliber team. Instant. Because they can hit anybody now. Their offense can score. And they have the pitching with the closer on the backside to make it happen. Where I think the difference is I would tell you that I think the Dodgers' middle relief pitching is much better than where the San Diego Padres are. I don't think the Padres with the guys like, what's that guy's name that couldn't start? Martinez, Nick Martinez and Morajon and those guys.
Is Lamet coming back?
He got traded.
Oh, he got traded. That's right. Yes. He's
not there. He's gone. So he's in Washington now with part of that deal. So he's gone. So that was my number one take was I think that San Diego has gone all out to be competitive, but not only competitive, I think they went all out to win everything. And I think they're really counting on Tatis to beat Tatis when he comes back. Of course, he did that last year when he came back. He was Tatis when he came back, started smashing the shit out of the ball, home run after home run. So I like the idea here that San Diego is instantly World Series competitive, instantly. Where some of the things that I guess I was disappointed on was, the American League Central is wide open. You got the Twins, you got the White Sox, and you got the Guardians. Any of those teams make big moves, they're going to be able to put themselves ahead of the others. Now, the Twins are the only team that really went out there and did anything. They got Luke Miley or whatever his name is from the Reds, but I don't know if that's like big enough of a piece to really be competitive. But it does help where you don't have to put out some of these guys they've been throwing out there. So, but I don't think he's a mover of the dial kind of pitcher. They needed to get Frankie Montas. That's what they needed. They needed a guy like that, and they didn't get him. So that was an interesting scenario. The White Sox did nothing. They didn't really improve anywhere, and the Guardians didn't do anything. So nobody wants to win. So at least the Twins tried. I thought that the Blue Jays there at the end did a little bit. They got some relief pitching that came in. I forget what they're. I can pull it up if I had to, but they brought in some relief pitching, and they went and got Merrifield, and I think Merrifield helps that team because they got some guys in the outfield that just are spurty hitters. Gurriel is who I'm thinking of out there. So I like what they did, and I think that keeps them very competitive. But I don't know that they have Manoah, and they have Gossman, and I don't know if that's enough to to really do what's necessary. Houston, they didn't do a whole lot, but what they did was they got Mancini over there now. They brought in a catcher. I don't know how that's going to work.
Vasquez.
Yeah, I think that how that's going to work is I think they're going to keep Maldonado as basically their number one guy, but when they need some offense, I think they're going to throw Vasquez out there, and I think I think that's how they're going to do that. So I like what they did. They didn't do anything crazy. Where I was also disappointed was St. Louis. St. Louis really didn't do it. I mean, they didn't really do anything, and they could have done some splashy things. You know what they did? They got what's his name?
Quintana.
Yeah, Quintana. I kept saying I want to say Contreras. Quintana from the Pirates, for God's sakes. Okay, I get it. It's that guy, and that's what you needed. But you really need a big boy at the front. What do you need a big boy to help that offense. That's what you need. And I talked about this the other day. It was the way I looked at the National League. You had two teams, St. Louis and Philadelphia. One's in, one's out, and that's it. Everybody else that you see in the running now is already in. So Philadelphia.
I had heard on the St. Louis front, they were trying to make a real big splash. They were tied to Bogarts. I thought the Mets was guaranteed to get J.D. Martinez. Were they going to get Evaldi? The Sox wanted Dominic Smith back. But the tie-up the Cardinals had in the Soto deal, because it looked like Soto to the Cardinals was going to be the around the back, sneaky, come in late. They didn't want to give up Dylan Carlson. That was the problem.
These teams, man. Anyway, so I thought the Phillies did a little bit, right? I mean, they brought in Robertson as a bullpen piece. That's helpful. They did something else too. I can't remember what the heck they did. Phillies, where's my roster resource? I don't know if it's updated enough because there's a lot of stuff going on. But the Phillies bring in where did they go? They got rid of him. They brought in David Robertson. Oh, Brandon Marsh. That's who it was. They brought in Brandon Marsh, and I thought that was a good move for them because I thought that he's a good fit for that team. They got rid of Odubel Herrera. He's not there. So that puts him in play in center field. And I think that helps because I didn't think they thought they needed offense, but with Castellanos not doing a whole lot and, Harper being hurt, they needed another bat. So they went and got a bat. Plus they brought in a bullpen piece that I think was exactly what they needed. So I liked what they did. And so I sat here and I thought to myself, you're in the running or you're not. And the teams that thought they were going to be close to being in the running didn't do anything, like the White Sox and those teams. And then St. Louis, who could have really put a foot forward to make the playoffs, and with the offense they have, can compete with anybody. But if they would have got a number one pitcher somewhere or some kind of pitcher, they could have really separated themselves from maybe the Phillies, and they just didn't. And they might even be able to catch Milwaukee for that fact. And they just didn't. So I don't get it sometimes. I understand what Baltimore did. They looked at themselves realistically and said, I get it. We're only 2.5, 3 games back of the wild card, but if we get into the wild card, well, what does that mean? It means we're going to get beat in the wild card and we're out. So let's keep building and keep doing what we're doing. I get all that. So I like that. I kind of liked what the Yankees did. even though the real subtle stuff. I mean, Benintendi's a left-handed bat; they needed that, and they brought in Efros, and they brought in another guy, a relief pitcher, and I think that helps bolster what they were trying to do, because the more I thought about what the Yankees' problem is against Houston, it's that Houston has elite right-handed pitching, and the Yankees have elite right-handed hitting. And you can beat elite right-handed hitting with elite right-handed pitching. You can do that, and they show that they can do that. So, but if you mix it in and you start putting in some left-handed guys that can hit, then all of a sudden that changes the dynamics. I don't know if they did enough with Benintendi or whatever, but at least it was somebody to go in there and make that happen. So anyway, those are kind of some of my thoughts.
No, and I think Baltimore selling Mancini last night. The Red Sox sold Vasquez, and then they had that window of opportunity. I am telling you for a fact, JD Martinez to the Mets was a done deal. I know for a fact it was. And I just think that the fact that the Orioles was selling and the fact that the Red Sox got gift wrapped at a free first baseman, then they said to themselves, all right, well, instead of going out and getting anyone, or so instead of going and selling, we'll just now our rentals are Eovaldi, JD Martinez. They're both walking. They're not coming through.
All right, I got breaking news.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Who did you tell me the Cardinals weren't going to ever trade?
They weren't. They didn't want to move Carlson in the Soto deal.
All right. Well, they just traded Harrison Bader
to
the New York Yankees
for what a players to be named later.
Jordan Montgomery, pitcher for the New York Yankees. It's not a number one. It's not what we just said.
It's an arms race in these playoffs. As the playoffs go long and longer, you get the starters that come in on their days of rest that are their pitching days that can get you 3 outs. So it's just adding on arms, keep throwing stuff against the wall. Don't give up big prospects, names, or people that you don't have a future with. And
I got another one.
Go ahead.
The Philadelphia Phillies bringing in Noah Syndergaard, hence he just got scratched.
That's why he was scratched. Trying to get lightning in a bottle.
Okay. How much Phillies pitching do you need?
What do you mean? If you could bring back Steve Carlton, they would.
Well, they need a lot because they got to beat the Mets and the Braves.
Yeah. They're not going to beat them 9-8.
And they're starting some guy named Nelson tonight.
Padres.
So there you go. Two deals right at the end.
We'll have time overnight to decipher it. We'll get you back on Thursday and Friday, correct, this week?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll have you morning and evening on Thursday, and then Friday we'll probably figure out, at least in the evening, we'll figure out.
Thursday we got a football game, brother. Sort of.
Kind of.
Sort of. Listen, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to bet preseason football. I don't have a problem betting preseason football. But I don't really look at the Hall of Fame game as anything more than, the guys out there pushing each other around a little. They ain't playing real football.
That's usually the first one to 20. It used to be 20-17. Now usually those totals are even less.
It might be 30 this game.
Let me see. Hold on one second.
32, I'm guessing. I'm guessing 32 without looking.
No, a pick 'em 30 and a hook.
30. Look at that. I have 32. I'm a little high.
First one to 17 wins. Final score 17-13. You can book that one. How's that sound? Yeah, 17-13 final.
Watch, they'll go out there and the Jaguars are go out there and they'll have their long-haired quarterback throwing the ball all over the place and get Etienne out there. Oh man, we just need to get these guys some work. Let's get them going. They play the whole first half or something stupid.
They probably have Brunell at quarterback with Fred Taylor and Keenan McCardell. How's that?
Yeah, it's going to be holy moly.
Well, I can't thank everyone enough for watching and listening. It's been a crazy, crazy day. A great, great breakdown of the board with Scott's 2 plays that he talked about, a couple lanes. Slate breaking news: Suarez in for the Angels as Syndergaard now leaves the building and heads to Phillies. Be interested in the offseason if the Angels start talking and shopping Shohei again. Obviously, the back issues with Trout will always be a concern. So, we'll see how that goes. For my Red Sox, a nice win yesterday. Thanks. I wish you were sellers to get some pieces, but it is what it is. Who knows? So, anyways, anyone wagering tonight, do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number, believe it or not. Ask for help. Why myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Cash a few tickets. Football on Thursday, believe it or not. Andrew McGinnis at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The closing bell at 4:30. See you soon.